Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, we'll be working on the JavaScript to get our rock, paper, scissors application working properly. I have the code pulled up right here in VS Code, and let's open up main.js. We will just copy and paste our JavaScript from our previous project with rock, paper, scissors, delete any of the stuff we don't need, and start adding functions to get it to behave how we want it to. Okay, copy and paste. We no longer need this for loop to play the round 5 times. Let's also get rid of this button. We don't have this button anymore. And anytime we see console log, let's just get rid of that as well. This player choice, get input, we're not going to use that function anymore to get the input of the player. We also don't need to check our inputs. Computer select is fine. However, we also want to update the DOM with the computer selection. Our function check winner is still fine. I don't think we need to change this at all. And set wins is fine as well, but let's just get rid of these console logs. We have a function in our index.html called reset game. Let's put that in here. We don't know what it's going to do yet. Function start game. We want to play the game until someone wins 5 times. Okay, we want the game to start immediately after the HTML loads. So down here, we're just going to say start game, and we're just going to initialize the game. Let's get rid of these 2 functions actually. This is only going to run once the game is initialized. So let's grab all of our images that the player can click on. So we'll do let images equal document.query selector all, and we're going to grab all images. We're going to say, so that's going to grab any image tag. That's also going to grab all of the computer images. We're going to want to cycle through all of these and add an event listener to all of the computer choices. Images, and we'll do for each. This will allow us to cycle through each image. So you can name this whatever you want. We're just going to do img to make it more clear what we're trying to grab. And we'll do equal sign and then this right arrow. This is an arrow function. Image.add event listener. We're going to add a click event. So just type in click in quotations, and what happens after they click, we want to run a function. So we'll do parentheses, another forward arrow, and then we'll do a set of brackets like this. Okay, this might look a little bit complicated. It adds an event listener, so this means that every single image in images is going to be listening to a click. The HTML and JavaScript are going to pay attention to if one of those images is clicked, it's going to call a function, which is right here. What we want to do in this function is we want to check, see if the image has an ID. And if it does have an ID, then we can say play round with image.id. Why we're doing it like this, so if you remember in our index.html, all of our player images, they have an ID of what they are, rock, paper, and scissors. But our computer images, they don't have an ID. So if you click on them, then this if statement will fail and nothing will happen. However, if you click on one of the player images, we can call play round with image.id. So we know that this is player choice. However, we only want to play around if somebody hasn't won 5 times yet. Let's make a function that counts how many times somebody's won. We already know who wins, and we have all of the winners right here. We can make a function called check wins. It's going to look similar to this. Let's just grab this. We don't care how many ties there are. So we can do return. We want to do math.max. So math.max will take in 2 values, or as many values as you want, and it will return the highest number in those values. So if we say p win count and c win count, this function will return which of these 2 values is the highest. So we can say if wins is greater than or equal to 5, we just want to return. This will end the function immediately and nothing will happen after that. Otherwise, it'll keep going. So after we do this, let's make a function now that will update the score. So in each box, there's a player score and a computer score. Let's just call this tally wins. So we need to make a new function called tally wins. Just grab these variables and use them up here again. Let's go to our index.html. So anytime we get a score, we want to update this 0 to whatever score we have. It might not change if we still have 0. And we also want to update the computer as well as these ties. Let's go document.query selector. We don't want query selector at all, just query selector. And this one is player score. So we can actually grab all of those classes. You just do the same thing, period, player score. And we could say dot text content is equal to, we're going to do something called a template string literal. And instead of a normal set of single quotations or double quotations, right above your tab key, there's a set of backticks. They look like this. And this will allow us to put JavaScript variables and strings together without having to do it the old-fashioned way. So you could do score, and then you do a $, and then open close bracket, and we could say P win count right there. We also want to do this for the computer and for ties. Now our score, the computer score, and the ties will be updated every time a round is played. Let's also display what we chose, what the computer chose, and who won the round. We can do this by creating another function. We'll call this display round. We do need to take in the player choice, computer choice, and the winner, just so we know what those are. Let's grab player choice, computer choice, and the winner and update those. So we can do document.query selector. This one is player choice. We'll say dot text content is equal to, let's do another string literal. Let's say you chose $, open close bracket, and it will be player choice. I think it would look a little bit better if player choice and computer choice were capitalized. So let's grab this variable and capitalize just the first letter. The way we do that is we have to use a few string methods. If we say .char at 0, this will just return the first letter of this string, which would be, if we chose rock, it would just be the letter R. And we could say .to uppercase. So it'll capitalize the letter R or letter P or letter S. However, it's just going to return just one letter. So we'll have to add the rest of the word back in except for the first letter. And we can do that by going slice and 1. That will return everything except for the first letter. Let's do the same thing for the computer selection. Okay, that should be done. We also need to do one more check to see if somebody's won 5 times at this point. And if they have, let's display something else. Wins is equal to check wins. We have to do this one more time. And we could say if wins is equal to 5. Let's make another function called display end. Don't think we need to take anything in for that function. We don't need any parameters. Let's make that function right here. We just need to check to see if we've won 5 times. If we haven't won 5 times, that means the computer's won 5 times. So we could say let player wins equal to, it's going to be this function as well. We're going to say if player wins is equal to 5. If we didn't win 5 times, that means the computer did. We still want to grab the same div. We just want to change what the text content says. And now we just need to make it so that button is visible. We can do that by going document.query selector. Let's reset. And then there's several different ways you could change the style. We'll just be going .style .display is equal, let's just do flex. Okay, I realized we didn't actually we didn't make a function that will update the winner div to say who won the round. We need to do that in our display round document dot query selector, another template string literal. We actually don't need this line of code. I think I put that in there by accident. I meant to put the winner. Try that again. Okay. Round winner computer, computer player, computer. Sorry, the computer won 5 times. I do want to have it display something else besides this. This is working, but I'm going to make a function that makes this look a little bit better. Okay, now if we win, it'll say you won the round. If the computer win, it'll say the computer won the round. Otherwise, it'll say it was a tie. Let's just do the logic for play again. And that's just going to be one function called the reset. I think we already have reset game. We just need to clear out any of the DOM elements that we've changed. We could just set winners to an empty bracket. We need all of these, and we just need to set their text content to nothing. Okay, we set the player score back to score of 0, computer score, score of 0, ties 0. We set winner, player choice, computer choice to an empty string, and then we hid the display of the button. Let's check that out. Okay, now real quick, we're just going to go through the CSS, make everything look pretty. I'm just going to do that off camera, and then just walk through that real quick, and you guys can follow along at that point. Okay, I did all of the CSS. This is what it looks like. If you hover over the images, they get a little bit bigger, and we can still see all of the elements that we saw earlier. We just need to do one more thing with our JavaScript, and that's just make these images get a little bit bigger if the computer chooses that. Go back into our code, and then I'm just going to walk through the CSS to show you all of what I did. So in computer choice, okay, we know what the computer chose. So if the computer chose rock, we just need to temporarily set a different class to the element that they chose. And then after maybe a second, we remove that class. And the class that they choose will make the image bigger or smaller. How we do that is we can go document, query selector. We're going to do a template string literal. So backticks, we're going to do a period, $, brackets, choice. We're going to do .classlist, .add. We're going to add active. And now we're going to do a function called a set timeout. That'll just make it so that a different function will run after a set amount of time. And we put the different function inside of the set timeout. I'll just do it real quick and show you exactly what I'm doing. So the set timeout, you have an empty set of parentheses, and then an equal sign and a right arrow, brackets, and then whatever function you want to run after a set amount of time you put in here. We want this function to run, which is going to be removing an active class, and we want that function to run after 700 seconds. Probably a little bit confusing, but pretty much whatever's inside of these brackets will be the function or functions that run after whatever amount of time you put in here. Now, if we go back into our front end, if I click rock, you should see these. You just saw it. They chose scissors, and scissors got bigger. They chose scissors again. You see scissors get bigger. Chose rock. Rock got bigger. Paper. And the computer won. And the button has a little bit different CSS. This is what it looks like after we're done with the project. And I will walk through the CSS really quickly. And I think we're done at that point. For the body, we're going to set display flex, flex direction column, align item center. So everything in the body is going to be on a column, and it's all going to be justified along the center. The background, it's going to be a linear gradient of #504 F4F to RGBA 104.104.104.678, a width of 100 viewport width, a height of 100 viewport height, overflow X hidden, overflow Y hidden. That means there's not going to be any scroll bars along the sides or along the bottom. Color white, so font color is white. Text shadow 004 pixels black. The div with class of choices, display flex, width of 80 viewport width, justify content space around, margin top 200 pixels, position absolute, z index of 1. The player and computer images, display flex, width auto, justify content space between, background RGBA 255.255.048, padding 20 pixels, border solid black 5 pixels, border radius 10 pixels, max height 90 pixels. An image, each image has a width of 90 pixels, a height of 90 pixels. Player image on hover, cursor pointer, width of 110 pixels, height of 110 pixels. The active class has a width and a height of 110 pixels. The winner has a width of 100%. The reset, which is the reset button, has displayed none. Justify content center, align item center, width of 200 pixels, height of 200 pixels. Background color RGBA 0 255 255 0.507. Color black, font size extra large, border 1 pixel solid black, border radius of 5 pixels. Reset with a class, the reset on hover, cursor pointer. And then the winner div, display flex, flex direction column, align item center. And all of that CSS makes it look like this. And I think it looks pretty good. And it does exactly what we want. We see ties, we see our score, we see the computer score. After 5 rounds have been played, then a button will pop up that asks us to reset the game if we want. And if we do that, everything resets and we get to play again. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you guys have any questions, especially on the JavaScript or CSS, just let me know. And hopefully you guys were able to follow along and create a really cool project. Thanks everyone. I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye.